As a child, I always felt like I was never alone. I had this energy. I just became more and more afraid of it. Didn't talk about it. It made me more curious. And then in my late 40s, it literally was an experience where somebody tapped me on the shoulder and said, I think this is what's going on with you, Kathy. I think you're getting messages for other people. Just go in, try to do a short little reading with you, and then we can chat about it. I'm going to leave him with you. Leave them both with you. Was it your grandfather?
It was,
Yeah.
and sorry.
No?
All right, everybody, we got another episode on the books. Kathy Reese. Kathy, thank you so much for joining
Thanks
us.
for having me.
Of course. So, can you tell everybody who you are, what you do, what you're all about? I'm really interested to chat with you today.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, well, sure. Well, I'm a mom, I'm a teacher, I'm a wife, and I just happen to be also an evidential medium. So, an evidential medium is somebody who it can connect with the energies of people who have passed away. And when I do connect with them for a purpose, for somebody sitting in front of me, I do bring through evidence of who they were and how they were in life, because so then that person can really trust that this is this energy coming through, and then the messages that we deliver tend to not be so evidential, but they're more easily received. So I just do what I do.
how did you even get
No.
into this space?
Organically, I think naturally. I didn't set out to do this. It all, looking back now, I see it all started when I was little. I didn't understand what was going on, but I had these horrific dreams I mean, from as far back as I can remember. And the there was the same recurring character in each dream, different storyline, different kind of weird dream, but the same person in it. And then
Mhm.
also as a child, I always felt like I was never alone. I had this energy or something right off of the side of me, and it scares me. It scared me, but I also
Mhm.
thought that that person, this thing that was attached to me, was the same person in the dream. So when you're a kid, you don't understand it. I don't. I mean, that was a lot to experience, and I just became more and more afraid of it. So as I grew up and it remained with me, it became this very, very, very scary thing in my life. Didn't talk about it. I was raised very Catholic. So, of course, uh, I thought there was something wrong with me. I thought I had something terrible attached to me.
So, is it kind of like the Sixth Sense movie?
I didn't see that.
Really? Oh my gosh.
I would imagine it wasn't like I was seeing ghosts come in and people talking to me like that. It was fear. It was an energy that I was never alone. And it wasn't until I had my second child, and just I had two children back to back, and I felt a little out of sorts, and I ended up going to acupuncture because. To be honest, if I went to the doctor, I was afraid they were going to put me on medicine. And I'm not against medicine, but I just wasn't ready for it. So I went to an
Mhm.
acupuncture, and the acupuncturist somehow through conversation tapped into my that I was having these dreams, and I would not talk to him about it, and that made him even more interested. He kept trying to push, and I'm like, no, no, no.
Ah.
Anyway, long story short, he told me how he handled his dreams, and he had also had very terrible dreams for a completely different reason. And
Mhm.
whatever he said, it wasn't anything profound. It made me more curious about my dreams.
Mm.
And so I was no longer really fearful. Wanted to have another one because I was curious, and I never had another one again. But
Oh.
that led me to trying to explore what that was. And that led me to reading about this and listening to this person, and through the years, like 20 years, 30 years of going and just this natural path that was leading me to something I didn't know what it was leading me to. And then in my late 40s, it literally was an experience where somebody tapped me on the shoulder and said, I think this is what's going on with you, Kathy. I think I think you're getting messages for other people. because you feel like you're losing your mind. I was telling my husband
Mhm.
everything because I needed that outside person to say, I think it's okay. And
Mhm.
so I took a class with a woman named Suzanne Giesman that she's she is a medium, but it was also just on meditating and just getting connected to your true self. And that's when it all kind of happened. That's when it started coming out. And I
Mhm.
started realizing, oh, I'm actually able, this stuff that I'm feeling, if I say it, somebody's going to understand it.
So when you get these feelings, I'm using the air quotes, is it like, is it just you feel energy, or do you actually like talk, like you get messages,
Now,
or what is the process, I
it's a
guess?
well, it's a feeling. It's a definitely in
Mm.
my gut. Um, I know that I have something when I feel it in my gut. Now it just doesn't happen. I have learned to, like, I don't walk down the street and get it. Like, I know on TV they show shows where people can walk into a store and this they're doing.
Yeah.
That's not how it happens for me.
Uh-huh.
I have to go to work. I have to set the intention that I'm open to that. For me it is a feeling. I know everybody might be different, but for me, I know I've got something because it's a almost like a butterfly feeling in my gut.
Mm.
And that's when I can then start feeling and it almost rises up through my chest. And then I just
Mm.
know, I start by knowing. I know it's a male or a female. And it kind of starts that primitively. It's a male or a female. Oh, now they're older. And I either see things, feel things, definitely feel things, or I just know. Things fly out of my mouth. I don't know really
That's wild.
why. Yeah, it is
Do you
wild.
have to be next to the person, or can it be, you know, no?
No, no, I can do it through Zoom. I do a lot of my readings through Zoom.
Wow,
So I read
really?
for people, across the country through Zoom. It's the
Mhm.
intention. It's something
Mm.
that's really hard to understand, and this is where I think people would be like, "Oh, whatever." But it's my intention, your permission, and then
Mhm.
I allow it to come through. And it's really, I mean, energy isn't something that you have to be right next to something for it to have the energy. I mean, it exists. The whole science of
Yeah.
energy is crazy.
Right, right.
And I didn't know all this. So like, is this something that I learned as I was trying to figure out what was going on with me? So
Right.
yeah, no, you don't need to be with somebody. I
Mm.
don't need to be with somebody. Um, For sure, no. But I do like, it makes me feel better to have the person's permission to
Mhm.
do this. So then it just starts happening.
I know this isn't related. I mean,
Hmm.
it somewhat it is, but I had gone done I was at a a work function, and they happened to have had like a psychic reader,
Hmm.
or something like that, there. And I can't remember if she was doing tarot cards or not. But my cousin was there too, and he went and did, the little session
Hmm.
with the woman, and he came back like all bug-eyed, and he's like, I can't believe, like, she nailed like everything.
Yeah.
Like, the stuff that she was telling me was like no one else knows. Da, da, da. I'm like, get out, right? And then I went and did it, and I was like, holy shit,
Yeah.
this is like, it was wild what she was able to do. So I guess I'm just relating it to that energy, like you're talking about. Like, there's some people just have that sense about them.
I I I do believe we all have that sense about us.
Really?
Oh, for sure. I mean, if you have an of we all have intuition. I feel like that's
Mhm.
part of this. That's part of, if we have intuition, I think we could take it further into this. But yeah, it is. I mean, everybody works differently and there's so many different modalities that you could use to
Right.
connect. Um, and it's just it's almost like something you have to experience to then, if you're like oh, I don't believe in that, or that's not my thing, if you were open to just experiencing it, then um, it might make you a little bit more curious. It's
Sure.
and that opens the door to maybe there's possibility.
Mhm.
And I think that's really the point of it. Are we alone? We're not really alone. Like, and I just exclusively work with, people who have passed over. I don't do the
Mm.
tarot cards, and I don't. I don't know why. I just don't like the psychic reading pieces. It's this is primarily what I do, but it's all energy and it's all something that we all can connect with. We just don't know it or believe it about ourselves.
Yeah, that was actually gonna be my next question. So you strictly just work with, like people that have passed over. So when you're when you're doing the I guess it called medium,
I mean,
the analysis or yeah,
mediumship reading, yeah.
yeah. Does the person like ask to try and talk to somebody, or does that person come to you? Not the person you're working with, but that person on the other side. Does that person on the other side naturally come to you, or do you ask your client, who are you trying to talk to?
Well, it's a good question because I think people do it differently. Um,
Mm,
I There's different ways you can do it. Look, if you look at this is a the people who have passed over were people. It's an intelligence that comes through. And
mhm,
as hard as this might be to grasp, it's for they want to communicate for your highest good, for your benefit. Um, and And so I could ask you, and I often do, hey, who are you hoping to hear from today? I started out that way. And you could say, oh, I'd love to hear from my mom or from my friend or whatever. And I say, okay, but just please keep an open mind because it is an
mhm,
intelligence and they're going to have their own plan for today. And so while we're hoping to hear from your mom or your friend or whomever, um, please be able to think about who this could be. But you should make the evidence. You should don't reach for it. Like don't make things
right.
fit. So then I say, and I just wait. I'm like, oh, I have a male here. Well, obviously it's not going to be your mom. But so I bring in this male, and we see who that is for you. And then oftentimes it'll lead to the person you really want to hear from. But if it doesn't, I've done readings where they want to hear from their mom, but and this is a one I did more recently, but the grandmother came through and it
Mm,
was evidence of this grandmother. And so the woman's telling me, oh, that's my grandmother, not my mom. Oh, okay. Let me keep going with it a little bit. And she said, I'm here. The grandmother she was very close to, she was here because to hold her hand for something more difficult that's coming. And I'm
mm,
saying this to her, but I'm like, I don't know who this is. I don't know what the difficulty is. And then the woman who was sitting in front of me, her father comes through. Very difficult relationship, lots of
mm.
hurt there. So we did that reading, and then her mother came through. So I was able to bring through the three people. And
Wow,
afterwards,
trifecta.
afterwards, the woman was like, I didn't want to hear from my dad, but I was glad I did because he owned up to a lot of things that he did, and it makes
Mm,
me feel better about it now.
found some closure.
Yeah, so like I could say I'm only going to bring through one person, but I've learned not to because
Mhm, yeah.
they do what needs to be done. I think this girl may needed to have had some communication from her father to try to help bring some healing on her end.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wow,
I mean,
that's fascinating.
it's fascinating, and I recognize it's not everybody's cup of tea and it's hard to understand, but it is.
Mhm,
I do think we live limitedly. I think we keep
mhm,
our world like right and wrong and left and right,
yeah.
and we don't entertain what could be possible.
Mhm.
And I think with in an authentic situation with somebody, it can be an amazing experience.
Does it take a long time as you're sitting there for the person to come through?
Um, no. Usually within the first 30 seconds, I'll feel something.
Wow,
Well,
really?
begin, like, it's like a beginning, like, "Oh, okay, I know I have a male here, and I know he lived to an older age." So I'm not getting, "Oh, this was his job," or, I'm getting little bits of it. And within the
Mhm.
first 30 seconds, yeah, I would say sometimes it's before we sit down. Sometimes it's, I'm getting ready to do a reading, and I can tell that there's gonna be this really funny man who's gonna show up. But, that doesn't happen often. It's really once I set my intention and yeah, they start moving in. It's an odd I sit here listening to myself talk, and it's so real to me, and it's so normal for me, but I
Uh-huh.
recognize it's an odd thing. It's an odd experience, but it is, beautiful and amazing, and I do think it
Mhm.
speaks to, um, you know, the idea of life goes on, and it really
Yeah.
truly does. We just can't understand what
Mhm.
that means.
Yeah, I can't remember where I was listening to this or reading it, but there is, like, this theory out there that basically the universe is one giant conscious mind,
Mhm,
and we are just a sliver of that consciousness, and we are just exchanging information between that consciousness whether you're alive or you've passed, it's all the same consciousness, right?
mhm.
um and so I mean, if that theory holds true, then it would make sense why, you know, someone like you, or like you said, like anybody could, um have those exchanges between the two, I guess, universes or whatever you want to call it, because it's still all of the same consciousness.
Yeah, I tend to when you explain it like that, I I do feel like that's it. I do feel like that makes sense for what I experience. But I do want to clarify because I know people I say with God or however you
Mhm.
identify God to be or the
Mhm.
universe or this collective energy, however you
Mhm.
identify it, it's really what you're comfortable identifying. But I do
Mhm.
believe that we are here and we're still very attached to where we
Sure.
came from, which is kind of what you were
Sure.
saying. And so that's
Yeah.
why we all are attached to where we came from. So I we all have the ability or the some connection, but
Mhm.
we forget when we come into this world. We forget we don't live that way.
Mhm.
What and our society doesn't teach us to live that way.
Mhm.
Even religions, which like I said, I was grew up very Catholic. I
Mhm.
have my fundamental beliefs that I was taught to believe, but even religion, I feel like doesn't do a good job explaining it in the simplest
Yeah.
terms.
Religion tries to personify a lot of it.
Yeah, which it has its purpose, right? I'm not
Sure.
here bashing anything. It has its purpose.
Mhm.
Um, but I don't think have I don't think we got it quite right. I think there's more to it. I can't say that
Yeah.
I know what that is, and I don't think we're capable of knowing or understanding, but I do believe we're also very much connected from wherever it is that we
Mhm.
come from, and that's the reason why hey, deja vu, right? Like
Yeah. Right.
just this knowing feeling like, oh, I don't want to take this road tonight. I want to take this one. I mean,
Mhm.
that could be to me, that is your connection to something more, giving you that
Sure.
insight. I just know like there's a lot of people I think that would be happy to argue that with me, and I'm not. I respect everybody's opinion and everybody's belief system. I just have my own. I just have through
Sure.
experience. This isn't something I asked for. This is something that happened, and
Right.
I've learned from it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you think about it in any kind of in a scientific sense, right? Like nothing really ever truly dies, right? It just transforms into another state of energy, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's like everything in the universe just constantly is getting recycled into something different, into something new, so so on and so forth. So I mean, what you're explaining is really no different. It's just a transformation of energy into something else. When we pass, you're transforming to some other state, right? You boil water, water will turn into a
Yes.
gas if it's steamed, and then as it cools, right, it turns back into liquid. So, and then you could freeze it, it turns into a solid, whatever, right? Just a very rudimentary example, but you boil that, not to play a pun, but you boil that down into consciousness. It could be the same exact thing. As we
It
pass,
is.
we're just, it's just like Chinese believe in, reincarnation.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be the same thing. You're just recycling into something else,
And I think through doing the evidential mediumship piece, where I'm actually getting, for some readings, they take me through the process of how that person passed, um,
Mm-hmm.
as a form of, so you know who I'm with. Um, but over and over and over again, it's been described as, in some cases, it's been described as it's just a slipping out of the body. It's like our
Mm.
concept of death is wrong, and
Mm-hmm.
that the body, yes, the body ends, but it's
Mm-hmm.
not us. It's not, call it your soul, your spirit, whatever. It doesn't end. And I also don't think that there's a geographical location they go to. And I
Yeah.
can't understand that so much, that they're always
Mm-hmm.
here, but I know that they're always energetically here with us if we want
Yeah.
them to be. So yeah, it is, I don't know, I think our concept of death is, in my opinion, not accurate how we, in our society.
I would tend to agree with you too. I mean, if I've said this before on the podcast because I'm fascinated by like quantum physics,
Mhm.
and if you look at anything quantum, I mean, a particle can be in two places at the same time on either ends of the universe. Like, how is that even possible, right? That same particle could be in two different multiverses as well. So we
Correct.
have not even begin to understand the depths of what is possible in that realm.
Uh, I again, 100%, and I don't think I understand it. I'm only like,
Yeah.
this is only like a tiny scratch on a surface of something, like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um, but I do know from doing this that there is more, and I'm also
Mm-hmm.
comfortable not understanding it because it's fascinating. It's
It
just
is. Yeah.
fascinating, and I just don't think we're meant to. And why would I want to define it? Why do I want to say, oh, it's this, 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 and this? Right now, it's like amazing because we don't understand it. But I
Mm-hmm.
do take a lot of comfort in that what I can't understand. Like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
the quantum physics for sure. We're, we don't
Yeah.
understand it.
Yeah. So, you go to this acupuncturist, and that's when you kind of have this change of mindset. So, how old were you when this switch kind of happened? Because up until then, you had kind of lived in
Fear.
fear
Yeah.
of this ability. So, how old were you when you got this
I
a
think I was like
mindset shift?
31,
Oh
32.
wow! So later in
It was,
life.
I lived with this for yeah, I was married having these dreams. Like, my husband knew about my
Mm,
dreams. Um, it was real. And yeah, it was that one day. And people ask me, well, what did he say? He didn't say anything profound. He told me his story, and it just took my perspective and shifted it just slightly. And
mm,
that little bit of curiosity, uh, allowed me, I mean, I'm grateful for it because it allowed me then to explore it rather than run from it or hide from it, or try to ignore it.
mm, mm,
And
mm-hmm.
it opened up a whole nother world for me over time.
So at that point, that's when you went and got help from someone to try and help you
Oh,
get
no.
into this?
No,
Oh.
I'm slow. No, I started reading books and started thinking.
Mm,
I started like even with dream analysis, and I think I read something that brought they mentioned this author, and so I went and got a book from that author who read this, and I, you know, heard something online, and ultimately the path that I can trace back where I know I'm certain is I did read well, I read a number of books that challenged my thinking about about life, death, some things that we just are my experience, God. So I read a lot of books. Didn't necessarily adapt to that thinking, but I loved the process of thinking about what they were trying to tell me,
mhm,
and
mhm, and
I
learning.
in the
Mhm,
learning, and I pick and choose
mhm,
what I adopt from it. So I wasn't like gullible and saying, "Oh," um, but I did read a book that brought me to Suzanne Giesemann, and so
mm,
I took a class from her online, and her story began with another woman. She learned of what she could do with mediumship through another woman. And I don't know, I look back because I'm not a really, ballsy person, but I contacted that other woman because I found she was only a few states away from me.
mm,
And I got online with her and started for the first time really started doing readings with her. I
mm,
came to learn that she was this well respected medium. Like she kind of had was very established and in her world anyway. And I started learning from her and practicing and developing and so yeah, it's just kind of it took me a while. I think I started doing readings in my late 40s. But I wasn't
really?
doing readings for yeah, it took that long of a time. I wasn't doing readings for pay. I was doing readings for practice. I'm like, "What is this? Hey, would
Mhm,
you sit for me and let me just see what happens?" And so it was, years of practice. And so you join these practice groups. It's a safe place for you to try things out. But I've never had experiences where it was, I don't work with people, and I fortunately have not been put in the paths of that, where it's not all for good.
mhm,
And some
mhm,
people I think about, I get asked a lot, like, well, aren't you afraid of the negative spirits or evil and that stuff? And I'm gonna tell you, um, I don't get that. I don't know if
mm,
it is there or not. I don't get it.
mhm,
Everything is with
mm,
God, or how I identify as God. So,
mhm,
um, my point in bringing that up is that once you start doing this, I did get a little bit scared of what I was doing.
mm,
Again, the Catholic upbringing.
mhm.
Is this really okay to do? And
The Catholic guilt is the
it's
worst.
there. It's a real thing.
I grew up Catholic. I went to parochial school all the way till 8th grade, so I totally get what you're
Yes, yeah,
saying.
yeah. And yeah, my husband went to private Catholic boys' school his whole life. Like it's
Okay.
like we had to really think about this,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I knew it was right. I knew it was okay. I have a very, trust in my
Mhm,
faith, so it just went with it. But I only bring that up because I feel like a lot of people bring up the evil part and well,
mhm,
this is not right and everything. And to me, this is the exact opposite. It is
mhm.
all good. It is all right.
Well, I mean, one could say that if God has created everything, then God has created this ability for you, this gift for you. So, you know, your free will allows you to explore that ability as long as it's being done for good, right?
One could say, uh, with God, all things are possible.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Mhm.
Why not this?
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
so that's kind of the leg I stand on.
Yeah.
Um, but I guess it's recently come up, and recently somebody reached out to me and felt the need to tell me how uh, wrong this is, and how,
Mm.
and so I guess that's kind of why it's coming up in our conversation today, because it makes you think. But I know it's it for me. This is right. I'm you
Yeah.
know
So, do you think that this is like a skill that you had to, because you said you were practicing. Do you think this is like a skill that you had to refine to get better at?
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
And so how many you like that took you several years to refine this skill?
Yeah. So when you refine the skill, it's kind of like you need experience of letting it happen. And then because you get confused about things or stuck on things. And so it is helpful to have a mentor or a group of people who can say, yeah, I think this made sense, this didn't make any sense. Not everything that comes through it makes sense, and so
Mhm.
there's a skill to learn as to you learn how to present the feelings you're getting.
Mhm.
Um, you learn how to present the things that you see. It's
Mhm.
trial and error and confidence. A lot of it is confidence. Once you start getting your confidence and trusting,
Mm.
then it kind of takes off. But
Mhm.
it's a scary thing. So you go with the people who are safe. So
Mhm.
you get stuck in this practice period. There have been people who have just been practicing and not you don't have to offer readings to other people who aren't
Mhm.
practicing non-mediums, but you get stuck practicing with other mediums because it's a confidence thing, it's a trust thing.
Yeah.
And situations, it's just like everything, things evolve and situations come up that are difficult, and it's always good to practice getting some difficult things and really understanding how you might want to share this information with somebody. Do you know what I
Mm.
mean?
Yeah.
So the word practice is kind of it's not like going out and trying to hit a baseball and try
Mhm.
to practice making contact. It's practice. It's really experience. You need a lot of experience feeling this energy coming through and experiencing it for you to really kind of grab a hold onto it. So I think that's what I mean more by practice.
Sure, that makes sense. But like when you were first, practicing, again using air quotes,
Hmm.
did you, as you were getting these feelings and you would tell the person, I'm feeling this, this or this, were you just like completely off basis, or were you still pretty accurate with what the feelings or the energy that you were getting?
Um, all of it. I mean, I think all of it, and I think so. There's a when you start practicing, you just say what you get. And I might
Mm,
say, oh, there's a woman here. She's old. She lived to an old
mm,
age. And they are going to say, yeah, I have somebody who was, we all have grandmoms or great grandmoms or
mhm,
somebody that's gone on. Um, and and then I might say, oh, but I don't know, why is she showing me a red truck? And there's that, I don't know, that doesn't make any sense. So you get
mm,
things that you might be wrong with, and it's the practice is figuring out what does that truck mean. Maybe it wasn't a red truck. Maybe it was she was a farmer or something like that. That kind of thing. So you have to. The practice comes with interpreting the information that you get more accurately. And look, you're still wrong
mm,
when you go into a reading. You want to be mostly right, but our brain, we're trying to step away from our thinking brain, and you can't.
mhm,
You can't step away from
yeah,
it, but you try to quiet it enough to then really focus on those feelings that you're getting. But sometimes
mhm,
our brains want, well, all the time, our brains want to interpret our own stories. So that's the practice. When are you
Mhm.
going into your thinking brain? When have you just taken a piece of information and you just created your own story with it, and the sitter can't take any of it?
Mhm.
So that's the
Mhm.
practice that needs to happen. So when you
Hmm.
go see a medium, that I always ask for just feedback of yes or no's, or I don't know, like I don't know enough yet, or I don't have any idea what you're talking about. I need that information because that means I've gone into my thinking brain. And
Gotcha.
that's the practice. So you say, what do we
Mm.
practice? It's just doing it, jumping in with
Mhm.
both feet and doing it, and learning about yourself and how to interpret the information. So not every reading is stellar. I mean, it's a misconception out there. I've had people come up and say, "I went to a medium, but nobody showed up for me." Well, let me tell you, that's
Mm.
not true. I don't believe it's the medium that wasn't in the right place to do the reading.
Mhm.
And that's part of the practice too. Like if I'm upset about something, or I had a bad day, or um, worried about a problem, I may not be the best place to do a reading because I'm not. It's harder to quiet your mind.
Yeah, being able to let go of the outside noise.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So when clients come to you, what exactly are they looking for? Are they looking for, I assume they're looking for closure in some ways, right? In a relationship?
Some yeah, I think it's all closure and healing, and um, they just want a moment back with the person that they miss. So they come for different reasons, but if you're going to call and make an appointment with me, you have somebody in mind that you really want to hear from. Some people don't
Mhm.
understand what happened. There's people pass in different ways, and
Mm.
they're complicated. Some of them can be complicated. Not everybody just gets old and just slips away. And so they maybe have a lot of questions, grief, and um, so they come to a medium to just try to reconnect in some way, and some do get some answers, or but I do believe it's all healing. It
Mhm.
it's I think mostly for healing. I've had a family I worked with where they lost somebody suddenly and very unexpectedly, um, and this person took their own life, but there was
Mhm.
no leading up to it. His family was grieving. They didn't understand it. They 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 just didn't know, how do we handle this? How do we handle it with the children? What is going on? So out of desperation, because it's maybe not the first thing that they would have turned to, but out of desperation, they found me, and I worked with them for multiple days. Like, it wasn't just
Mhm.
one sitting. And because it was like an onion, it was like peeling this onion and helping. And I do believe, I know that the energy that came through the person who passed away, that took their life, walked them through things for their own
Mhm.
benefit, for healing. It was one of my more impactful experiences. Um, but so yeah, I think most come for healing, grief. Some just are curious. They just want to see what would come
Mhm.
through.
Mhm.
Um, I gotta say that I love the ones where there's really a lot of pain or healing that can be addressed through
Mm.
a simple conversation like this, a mediumship reading.
So as you're going through this process, I assume your husband was supportive of this, because this is, if you guys have this strong Catholic upbringing, this is quite a shift from
Hmm.
the religious side, right?
Yeah, I'm very fortunate because he thought it was cool. I think he liked that I came to him and was like, "This
Yeah.
is this is weird." He probably felt better that I recognized that it was weird, but he was like, go for it. Go see what it is. Write it down. I was doing a lot of writing at that time, writing down everything I was getting. And he's like, that was kind of interesting. It kind of
Mm,
makes sense. See what else, so I was very fortunate, but I'll tell you, I didn't tell anybody else other than the woman that I said I was working with
yeah.
and the people that also worked with her. Nobody else knew for a few years. I eventually, once I realized this was growing and this was something I was
Mhm.
really enjoying doing, and I had been reading for people who didn't know who I was because I, I'm a teacher. I don't want my community to misinterpret what I do. Um,
Sure.
I started telling my sisters then, and they met it with curiosity. They looked into it a little bit to see what was, but then they were supportive. And then slowly I started becoming a little bit more public. It was easy though, because at that point, people around me in my life here didn't know what I was doing, but I'm reading for people
Mhm.
out, in California and Oregon, and
Mm,
like because it
mhm.
was safe.
Yeah.
But they don't need to know me, and I didn't know them.
Yeah.
Um, So my husband was very supportive. He's actually the one that spilled the beans on some friends around here without me knowing. I wasn't
Okay.
even there. And he told some friends about what I'm doing. And I was like, but fortunately, I've been fortunate. People have had enough respect to be like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
and leave it there, or they want a reading.
I'd imagine that that supportiveness has made you and your husband have a much stronger and closer relationship.
It's made it fun because he pokes fun at me. He's a little sarcastic. He pokes fun at me, but yeah, I mean, he's seen it now. I mean, he's seen
Uh-huh.
enough. I I don't. It's not like I've read him, but I've read enough of our friends that have given him the feedback that was
Mm,
like, so he's seen enough that he buys into it. He's 100% for it. Does not understand it. I don't think he wants to understand it, but
yeah.
for sure, I'm very fortunate that he is kind of like, sure, like go for it.
That's that's very cool.
Yeah. I don't think he wants
That's
to be
very
too
cool.
involved with it. I have
Yeah.
children, and my one daughter thinks it's awesome. I know she could probably learn how to do it herself, like, but she thinks it's awesome. My son knows what I do, and he helped me with my website. Like he did my website for me, but he wants nothing to do with it. Not at all.
That's funny.
Yeah. So it's just it's been an interesting path that happened,
Mhm.
and unfolded in front of me. And I've been very
Mhm.
fortunate to have very supportive people around as well.
That's great.
hmm So I'll just go in, try to do a short little reading with you, and then we can chat about it. Um,
Sounds good.
all right. So what I need from you are yeses or nos that you understand or you don't understand. Um,
Okay.
I have. I'm gonna just sit quietly for 20 seconds, but okay. I'm gonna sit quietly for 20 seconds, and I'm gonna start talking. I do feel like I do feel two people, but I'm going to go with this gentleman first. He feels older. He feels um, more in line with your family. So there's a connection there. He's somebody that you maybe have not seen for a while, meaning that he may have passed when he's bringing me to a time. I feel like you would be a little bit younger. I don't feel like you were super close. I feel like this is somebody you may have gone to visit when he was older, but he makes me feel that there's a kind of boredom or something in going to visit him. And I'm going to get a little bit more stuff, and then I'll come back and ask you if you understand any of this. I feel like there was just a timing that was off in that your ages or something, and it was just kind of like he's showing me that um, he appreciates the visit or the time with you, but he understands he wasn't able to give you um, the connection that he really would have wanted to have given you. I feel like there would have been this gentleman would have had things to he would have liked to have shared with you. Um, that he would have liked to have yeah, told you stories, more stories about him, and shared his experience with you, because I do feel like he cared much about you,
Mm.
but I don't feel that he was able to give you all that he wished he could give you. So, can you? Does this sound at all familiar? I know it's not a whole lot, but can you relate?
Yes.
And there are two people here. He's just stepping forward first, and he wants to go back to his younger self. He's bringing me back to a time where he's showing me that he was a almost. I don't know if he's trying to get me to say an elegant man. I feel like I don't know if he danced or if he's bringing a time like him and his wife or like I feel like he would have been an elegant dancer, almost. I'm not saying he did that as a profession. I'm just saying
Mhm.
he's drawing a time to when he was younger, when he could move, and he brings me to a time of I don't know. I feel like I'm watching him dance, but not like this. Like more
Mhm.
elegantly and Fred Astaire-ish almost, that kind of vibe to him. And he's making me feel like he did okay for himself. Like he's kind of like, um, that he, I can't tell if he's telling me he was not too shabby looking or if he did okay for himself despite that. Kind of has a cute sense of humor. I think he would have had a lot of energy to him. He would have had a lot of things about him, and I think he would have been a charismatic person in his as he's saying, better time in his good. I don't know why he's saying better, but in his younger time.
Mhm.
But and you understand that he had some stories, and sometimes some of them may have been maybe less conventional stories or less what do I mean? What do you mean by that here? Oh, uh, he gives me the sense, and I'm going to try to say this the way he means me for me to say it. He seems like a great guy, charismatic kind of guy. But maybe there were some things that you didn't always know about
Mm.
in his stories. He was good, but no saint.
Mm.
So does this? Can you relate this to a particular person?
Yeah.
And he's saying that this he has. So he brings me back to the appreciation. He's both funny and serious too at the same time with you, because he wants you to know that those times of you coming to visit him, he knew how, out of obligation or whatever, he understood that. And but he wants you to know that he appreciated it. It
Mm.
meant something.
Mm.
And his desire with you was to be able, he wished he could have shared much more with you. Okay. And that's important, he says, for you to know, because it's talking about actions. It's talking about doing the right thing, what you have to do, but how it does affect others. Just showing up affects others. And that's important. You showed up. And I feel like he's emphasizing that for some reason. So it mattered to him. You understand, he would have had a passing where he was kind of had complications type of thing. He would have had some sort of decline. And he feels older and then he doesn't. I'm not sure how to interpret this. I don't know if he got older than his age, he was acted older than his age, or he just makes me feel like he had a decline which ages him. I'm not getting a specific age at this point. Um, I feel like he was a bit, you would know him to be a bit of a dreamer, or he had grandiose ideas that he makes me feel like they were beautiful. That was the excitement. That was the gusto of life. I feel like he's saying, having those dreams and thinking of imagining. He's just passionate about not being complacent. He's very passionate about this. And in a way I feel like that's what he's correlating to you in this passion. And he likes it. He makes me feel like it's good stuff. It's good stuff. It don't let it slow you down almost. Like if this is what embracing life is about. That's what he wants to encourage you. Now, obviously, you have. It seems like you already have done that, but I feel like he's either connecting himself to you, but he's telling you, like, that's where life is, very emphatically, is in those dreams and setting those goals. It's not about what doesn't happen with him. It's about what moving forward with them. Not so much about the finality of it. Not about necessarily accomplishing the goal. It's about going with the 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 energy that's driving you to even move towards that goal. That's the sweet spot, he says. That's the sweet spot. Um, he brings his attention to I feel like it's his lovely wife, as he would say. I feel like he's honoring her, drawing her attention to her. And I feel like they were quite a couple, because I feel like he gives her credit. She was the brain. He was intelligent, don't get me wrong, but he says she was the brains of the two, and
Mm.
how dynamic they were. And I feel like that was a relationship that was one to be admired. He's saying he wasn't necessarily always the easiest person. I feel like she's following him around, like trying to keep up with him a little bit, but she also had she told him, I don't know if she had some um what's the word I'm looking for? She wasn't a pushover by any means. Like she kind of held the reins. And she feels very sweet, and very kind. So she's just coming in very well. He's still coming in. He's giving her lots of accolades. You would understand this about him, that he would
Yes.
talk, because it's not the case in every case, believe it or not.
Yeah.
But there is a dynamic then between the two of them, and he makes me feel like I have to say that word, dynamic duo almost. Like he gives her so much credit. She kept him grounded. He would never have gotten to experience things that he experienced family wise, in love, um, without her. Uh, I wish I could bottle sometimes the emotions I feel, because what a tribute he is given to her and to them as a couple. He was fun. I feel like he was the little bit of the um I don't know, I don't want to say firecracker, but a little bit more of the one uh he kept her on her toes.
Hmm.
Do you know that about him? You can say no. He's making me feel like he was the one that he yes, I would never have had what I had without her, he said.
Yeah, yeah.
And I feel like he goes back to she held the reins. He may have provided the energy, but she was holding the reins. Like I don't know why it's a reins of, but she kind of guided, and she kind of like kept him reasonable.
Mm,
Okay. What a sweet thing. And he does say that I thought we were moving over to her, but it's still him. So I don't know if he could talk a lot or he would have liked to have talked a lot. He just has that kind of energy that he would be talking a lot. He's not being rude. He said he's just taking this opportunity for himself because you understand lessons to be learned in life. He had lots of lessons that he would have loved to have shared with you and passed down. But he's not telling me that you need them. He's just telling me that there are things that of value that almost it would be nice to match. So tell him. What do you want to say? Hang on. He wants to talk about um, there's very few things that matter really in life. There's very, very few things. You think there's a lot. We have all these balls up in the air, juggling all these balls in the air, but it's really only a couple of them that we really need to make sure we better catch. And not just catch, but value. These it it boils down to just a few things, and it's really in your relationship with others. With so there's two different sides of this. He says there is your relationship with others of the people you interact with in your daily life. If somebody asks you, who do you live with, who's around you all the time, you could list these people. And then there's another thing of these are people that you don't realize that might be in your periphery of your life, but you don't realize that they're in your life. These the What are you saying? The He was talking about the relationships in your life that are close to you and close to your heart. Don't let them slip away. Don't ever. He's not telling you this as if you do. So do not take this as a scolding. This is a lesson that he wants to share with you.
mm,
He's kind of passionate about it, so I feel like it's coming across wrong. Hang on. Don't let that slip away. Don't ever. That's so important. We go about our busy lives. We go about our things. We go about our stuff in our own head, and we are not checked in enough to really make sure that these people that you are close to know their value to you. So think about what I just said. It's not that they know you love them, that you need to let these people close to you know their value to you. That's what it boils down to. So he's drawing, it's not you telling them, it's them feeling it from you.
mm.
That's the most important lesson he could tell you because it matters. And that's where um, just his suggestion. He's getting a little less bossy right now because he was feeling passionate. It's a suggestion to perhaps think about that um, a little bit more often. Not how am I interacting with them, but how are they what do they know about my feelings towards them?
Mm.
Solves a lot of problems, he says. If you pay attention to that, it solves a lot of problems. But you understand then it's the ripple effect that goes out in your world. He's making me feel like your actions with those close to you. And that's an example. God, she's chatty. That's an example of obviously you can identify with people who you know who are close to you. So this is an example. It could be anybody, letting anybody that you have a direct connection with, let them know that that they are valued by you. But by doing that, it puts out a ripple effect within your whole peripheral. And he said, don't be foolish to think that you know everything, because you don't. And this ripple effect, you don't know how far it goes and how it matters. So the ripple effect is your kindness. You're making the other people feel their value, because they are value. Everybody has value. So making sure they have their value, it actually puts out things we don't think about. It puts out an a ripple effect, and it affects then your whole wider world, and it goes beyond that, but we don't need to get into that today. um He's like, it's just one of the most important things. I could tell you love, but love is overused. We use love all the time. It's overused. He's trying to tell you the what about the love that matters is that he's very passionate right now. I hope you can relate to that as his personality or his intention towards you of what he would want to pass around. Your actions matter. And look, this is the line he's showing me that we mess up in life, not you, we as a whole, everybody, humans mess up in life. We mess up with the not with the people that are closest with us. He's saying that that's human, you mess up. You mess up. But to fix it moving forward is always your goal. And to fix it moving forward is to say, okay, I'm going to make sure they understand their value to me. That's deeper than just letting them know that you care about them. He wants to make sure you're hearing the two differences of what he's saying.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, I feel like that is the best medicine he could give. That is the best lesson he could say in a short time. He I have to tell you, go back to the dreams that he makes me feel like he loved to create, he loved to think, he loved to dream about things. And he's telling me that that is so critical for you. That is so where he wants you to keep going, embracing, joining. And it's the joining in of that energy, that idea, joining into it is where I did I say this word before? He keeps saying gusto. That's where the gusto is. Um, it's not about all the other ramifications of it. It's about the drive. It's about the enjoyment of doing the idea that comes into your mind is coming into your mind because it's yours. It's from you. It's from the inside. It resonates with you. Even if it's somebody else's idea, if it resonates with you, that's what life is about. Paying attention to that and moving with that. If it doesn't feel good, don't waste your, did he cuss some? Don't waste your goddamn time. I don't know if he would have cussed. That was the first time. I usually hear it multiple times before I say it, but I heard it that time. I just wanted to say that.
Okay.
So I hope you understood this lesson he's trying to talk to you about, and know that they are together. And I feel like he did a beautiful um, service to her by honoring her in a way that not everybody can honor their spouse. He feels this connection there with them. So I'm going to leave them with you. I feel like he is missed, like he feels really good, very happy, and want you to think one last thing. Okay. um, I showed up for you today.
Mm.
I showed up for you today. That's important. Don't think I ever wouldn't show up. That's important. So I'm going to leave him with you, leave them both with you. Um, I'm curious. He made me feel so energetic. And I don't know if that is how he was, if he could get excited in life, or if he had, I feel like it's more in his, he differentiates more in his heyday versus his later years where he feels a lot more subdued.
Mm.
So I'm going to leave him with you, and hopefully you understood
I did.
that. I very cool, to the point messages, I feel like.
Mm.
So, all right. I'm going to let him go.
That's interesting.
Was there anything that you couldn't take or you didn't understand?
No, if it's the person I'm thinking of, it makes complete sense.
He feels family. I wanted to say grandfather, but I
Mhm,
couldn't place it as my typical. He didn't give my typical thing where I feel confident it's grandfather. So
mhm.
we deal in a world with lots of in-laws and everything. So I'm not sure. But anyway, it was your. Was it your grandfather?
It was,
Yeah.
and hmm, hmm, interesting.
Yeah. Very passionate.
Mhm. Sorry.
No, this is. There's a reason why he comes through because he said stuff that you needed to hear. It's always for your highest good. So this is a good thing.
He sorry.
No apologies. This is. He wanted it to sink into you. To sink in with you. This is human. Take your time.
We he was around when I was younger, but then we had like a a family feud, so we didn't have that connection like he was talking about.
Okay.
And then he got Alzheimer's, and so he descended fairly quickly. I mean, I think it was 5 years, uh, but I would go. Sorry.
No, you're fine. This is why some people feel like it's healing. You didn't know you needed to hear this.
So when you kept saying I showed up, when we found out that he had Alzheimer's, I would go there every single week and spend time with him. And my grandmother would make spaghetti mustacholi because it was my favorite. I loved her sauce, and he would just sit there and tell me stories.
Mm.
And then with him talking about my grandmother, like he adored her,
Mhm.
and she was the boss. She ran everything. He was an entrepreneur, and so he was a dreamer. He would always like invent things, and
Yeah.
he I think that's I think that's what he meant when he said he wished I knew him when he was younger, because I didn't really get close to him until the end.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
It's beautiful. What's what's also to me amazing time and time again is the importance of what they say for your for what it was. I he made me feel like it was very important for you to hear
Mm.
this, and especially that last, because I was trying to let him go, and then he came up and he's like, one more thing. I showed up. You know, I think it's stuff like you can't make this stuff up. I didn't deliver, all the things that I could have. This isn't researchable, and
Right.
that's freaking amazing to
Yeah.
me. I'm just always awed by it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he showed up before we got on today. I'll be honest with you. I don't like,
Really.
yeah, so sometimes people pre-link, they call it pre-linking. Like if you're going to go do a reading, They sit and try to. I don't like to do that because it throws me off because I can
Mm,
pre-link with one person and suddenly another person steps in and then I'm confused and that keeps me in my thinking brain. I have to be out of my thinking brain, which is why I
mm,
appreciate us doing this, not talking much before and just going into it. Um, but he showed up. I knew I was going to have a gentleman, and he felt grandfatherly, but I wasn't sure. So I like to look at that as much as you were preparing or doing what you had to do in order to meet me at this time, to get on the computer, to come to this. He was as well.
huh, huh, huh.
Kind of cool.
Yeah, that's interesting. Mm.
Mhm. Yeah, and I loved his message about the ripple effect, and I loved his distinction. It's not just about telling somebody you love them.
Hmm.
He feels like he would have been a good man to know.
Oh, he was, yeah. Hmm.
He kept drawing my attention. I don't know if I noticed that I was doing lots of during some of the
Yeah.
reading, I was looking off to the side. I
Hmm.
have a board that says dreams on it.
Uh,
Um, it says follow your dreams, but he was having me look specifically at that word dreams. Pretty cool.
okay. That's very cool.
Mhm.
That's wild. That's
Mhm.
a lot to process. That's for sure. What I find funny, were you actually feeling, because he kept talking about his wife, were you feeling my grandmother trying to
Yeah,
come through?
I was waiting for her to come through, but it was always him. Him, like he was honoring her, introducing her, um, giving her the accolades of the life that he had. Like it was a true love story, I feel like there. But she
That's
never kind of moved in to say anything.
that's funny because she was the boss, man. I mean, she ran everything. So I'm surprised like she didn't just try and shove him aside.
I think it was his turn.
Uh
I think he wanted to take this opportunity. He's the one who came in first. She came in then. I knew I had two people.
uh-huh.
Um, Perhaps if we had gone on a lot longer, it would have evolved over to her. But she felt I felt like it was his turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah.
Wow.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
What a gift.
It's and that's where I want to normalize this kind of thing
Yeah.
because it can be in some cases extremely touching
Uh-huh.
and it I feel like it makes if nothing else, maybe your day's better. Maybe your mind's a little
Uh-huh.
bit more th- you know, thinking of them or connected to them in some way. Or
Mhm.
I don't think there's anything negative it can bring when it's
Right.
genuinely, I'm just the voice. It's not me.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's when it's genuinely coming
Yeah.
from them.
I walked into this somewhat skeptical.
Hmm.
I mean, I do believe in that type of energy, but I think it's hard for a lot of people to wrap their head around
Yeah.
the possibility of that even being the case. But when you started mentioning specific things, I was like no one would have known some of those things, you know. Uh,
Yeah,
that was the difference.
that's where I like to I refer to what I do as evidential mediumship. So it's the evidence so you can build the trust that okay, it's stuff that you can validate about this
Mhm,
person to make
mhm,
the message which is not evidential. But to you could then maybe take that message a little bit more seriously and knowing that we've already established who we're with.
right.
Um, a lot of people are skeptical and I'll tell you it's okay. I'm not here to convince anybody to think differently than what they want to think. But
Mhm.
it is amazing when
It
we
is.
just say, all right, let's what if? And it doesn't mean that you're changing your thought system on everything. You just had this great experience and just embrace this as for what it
Uh-huh.
was.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Because I
Huh.
don't think we can understand all that there is.
No, I agree. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, I'm
wow.
glad you enjoyed
Kathy,
it.
Yeah, it was really cool. I really appreciate you doing this.
Yeah.
I'm excited to get this episode out there. Where can everyone find you and learn more about you and even utilize your services?
Through my email is my best way. And if you get on my email, I actually have my cell phone too, so you can text. But I'd prefer the email, so it's at kathyreesemedium.com. It's
At
also HHC Medium, Heart Healing Connection Medium.com. That would be the best way. I got to tell you, I wish I was
no,
more.
oh, that's your website. Okay.
That's my website. I wish I was more. I do have some other websites, and I'm just not the business person I need to be.
I'll be sure to put all of that in the show notes. Kathy,
Okay.
thank you so much for coming back on and doing this.
Thanks for
Uh,
giving me the opportunity to come and do a reading.
yeah,
Sorry, the first one I just had to.
that's okay. That's
Yeah,
okay. I'm glad it worked out. Thank you so much.
no problem. Thank you. You let me know. You'll email me. Okay.
Yeah.
I hope you. I just. I wish I could give you a hug or something. I feel like, but I just. I hope you.
Virtual hug.
Yeah, yeah. So thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you.
You take care.